start talking.
There we go.
Got it.
I'm ready if you are, gentlemen, and everybody else. Welcome aboard. I'm Baron Ron Herron, host of the weekly online podcast for the Santa Barbara Astronomical Unit. Good old SBAU, our official South Coast, below the Central Coast anyway. They may have their own club up north. I know they got the VCAS down in Ventura, but we represent Santa Barbara, and every Monday morning we do it. We stream live on YouTube and a podcast. It's going on our first half a year, gentlemen. This is episode number 24. In two Mondays we will have been on since March 1st, half the year. So it's the SBAU Astro Hour, also streaming on YouTube. Join us with questions. Go to sbau.org or see your email notice from our webmaster. We'll introduce you to here in a minute and a second, running the show. And join us. Your local telescope and astrophysics club talks about a lot of things each week, and try not to get lost in these things. And I got to tell you, the Brain Trust knows. Let's introduce and meet him right now. President Jerry Wilson, whose wife Pat is in the background. How are you, Jerry?
Hello.
All right. Congratulations on the electric car. Enjoying it. Just don't floor it. I'm not sure. Can you floor it and make? Never mind. We're not going to go there.
Oh, yes, you can. It goes way faster than I like to go, or accelerates stronger than I like to.
But it doesn't make that noise that the jerks in the neighborhood like to do at 3 a.m., does it?
No, there's going to be a lot of frustrated mechanic gasoline engine fans in about a decade from now.
And about to get his is our outreach coordinator, ChuckMcP, whose wife is also Pat. Hi there, Chuck. Pat is merchandise manager, and she's doing okay. And she going to get to drive your Tesla?
Sure.
All right.
Our Tesla.
Our Tesla, you got it. Webmaster, technical wizard, former President Tom Totten is really fast on getting those pictures and diagrams up. And on board, Tom Whittemore. How are you doing,
Morning.
Tom?
Good morning. Morning.
Former Westmont College science instructor, beloved and now gone. Editor of our SBAU newsletter. Speaking of newsletter, let me just run this down before we run down some headlines and throw it at you guys, okay? News from inside the club. Slideshows for the campers are ongoing. It's about the only outreach we do that's really out there. Lake Kachuma, end of the month, August 28th. That'll be in their Fireside Theater. Oh, no, that's Carpinteria State Beach. That'll be, when is that? That's this Wednesday night, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, August 11th, 8 p.m. Are you there at these things, Chuck?
Yeah, I'm doing the slideshow.
You do the slideshow. All right. Well, you're kind of low key about it. You want to invite our gang? Or is it just a matter of if we're camping, we get to see the show if we get a campsite, right?
Well, at Carpinteria State Beach, it's open to the public. You can just walk in and come into the theater, and it's for the campers too.
Okay.
At Kachuma Lake, it's also open to the public, but they generally would charge you to drive in. They would charge $10 per car. However, lately they haven't been manning the kiosk, so you could probably just drive in.
So it'll be day after tomorrow at 8 o'clock, Wednesday night, the 11th, and it'll be again Saturday evening, 21st, a couple of weeks away at 8 o'clock. And then on the 14th, which is next Saturday night, it's 8:30 up at Lake Lopez in you drive that far, Chuck?
Yep.
Okay, that's in their Marina Theater. And gentlemen, we may not be meeting anytime soon, apparently, anywhere on the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History campus, but we'll make do with this incredible program here. Thank you, Tom, for all the stuff on the screen. And this week, the 24th episode. It happens to be the 9th of August in the year of our Carl Sagan creator, 2021. And we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. The night sky, starting with tonight. The Cat's Eye Nebula, we may visit there. We also may get Chuck's cat walking across the screen.
Again.
And rogue planets for the Milky Way. That's a scary thing, but fascinates the hell out of me, I got to tell you. Plus a new definition of planet coming out of this rogue. They think they found a rogue, and you'll wait till you hear about it. Sort of like a reverse occultation. The star brightens as the thing goes in front of it. It's a long story. maybe we'll ask Chuck when we get, well, let's start it off with any occultation you're doing in your backyard with asteroids. blocking out stars?
Lately, I've had some trouble with the sky. They've been blocked out. Like there was one early this morning. And I had a negative, a couple of nights ago, and then there's some more coming up this week, but nothing too spectacular.
Not your end, I think, because everybody else is on.
We had several nights or several mornings. I judge it by mornings. I don't look outside much past 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. But I guess if we have it in the morning, the June gloom now in August, we'll have it at night as well. Jerry, how about you? You been setting up your telescope anywhere?
I started setting up my 6-inch refractor in the backyard. I've got it partially set up, but I had to work on my computer for several days. It was giving me some trouble. I had to have an IT guy come over yesterday because we changed our modem at home and we couldn't connect to our own network here. And it turns out there was bad software from Intel, and we reloaded that, and now it's fine.
I got your old telescope, or your old, not telescope, but your old computer here. Did you know that? You gave it to me years ago.
I remember, yeah.
I haven't plugged it in yet.
I thought you were using it for this.
No, I should have this is my little trusty $400 Dell.
Wow.
How about you, Tom? What are you seeing in the night skies these days? Anything?
Mostly binocular stuff. Been trying to find Mercury. It's been a little hazy in the west after the sun goes down.
All that smoke.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think Mars is just awfully close to the sun now, and I don't think we have a chance of saying Mars. Venus, of course, is extremely bright and beautiful.
We have a map of that coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and I have your
Jerry,
astronomy magazine postings, Jerry, of the night sky. I interrupted you there, Whittemore. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, and I'm sure Jerry will talk about this. Don't forget about the Perseus shower this coming week.
Oh yeah, we got it all here.
Yeah,
I kind of encapsulated as much as I can, and I figure since you start your talking points that you send us every week on inbox with the night sky, this is the 9th. This is Monday. Mars is. Let's see if I can read this damn thing. A few months away from conjunction, and I think I remember you explained that that's on the other side,
right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's about 2.6 times the average Earth-Sun separation distance. That's way over there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
2.6 astronomical units.
Okay. Well, your last chance tonight. It's hard to observe, but I guess it's going to go behind the sun, you think?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tom, do you have a picture associated with that?
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about?
Very first night.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
And the moon is going to pass 4 degrees north of the red planet at 6 p.m. That'll do us no good, but maybe see them together for about an hour just after sunset.
Yeah.
Mars is 3.5 degrees southeast of the moon. It's at magnitude 1.8, just 4 arc seconds across due to the distance, which is 2.6 times the average Earth-Sun separation.
Okay.
That's
there it is. This finder chart, I timed it for just as the disk of the sun goes behind the horizon. So the sky will not be this dark.
Yeah.
As the illustration seems to suggest.
Oh, okay.
It is a very thin crescent moon with a lot of, if you can find it, with a lot of earth shine on the backside. You can, as they used to say, it's the, the old
New moon in the old moon's arms or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or the other way?
No.
Tomorrow night, it's going to be very well placed with Venus. And so that'll be a good evening view.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I think it was Thursday morning, about 5 a.m, I watched the moon come up. And what I first saw of the moon was the earth shine coming back to us.
Wow.
And then this beautiful, slim crescent, absolutely gorgeous. It's the opposite of what you guys are talking about during sunset, Yep.
Well, your talking points don't tell us when the new moon is. Is that later in the week?
Right between go ahead, Tom or Chuck.
The new moon is on the 15th.
Okay.
Oh, it's not till the 15th.
Wait a minute. New moon, I'm sorry, it was on the 8th.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chuck, the moon was just a slim crescent. I think it was Thursday morning.
Yeah,
I think roughly then. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Okay,
the
so we
8th.
got a new moon.
Just got a little bit of it. It was just beautiful to see the earth shine come up first and then a little smile of the moon come up last.
Yeah, 15th is first quarter.
Okay.
Okay, well, you get to see them together, the sliver of the new moon with the red planet for about an hour just after sunset tonight. As we said, Mars 3.5 degrees southeast of the moon, magnitude 1.8, and Earth-Sun separation. We went through that. As Tom Whittemore mentioned, Mercury visible for about a half hour after sunset tonight. It's just 9 degrees west of the moon, glowing a bright minus 1.1.
I was going to say still a toughie. That's still a toughie.
Especially with the smoke we're going to have.
Yeah, the smoke, I guess, is coming down from the Dixie, huh, Chuck?
Yeah,
Ooh,
Yep, yeah.
a couple of
Really?
those fires,
Big
it's combining.
Yeah, bootleg Dixie, those two fires up the way. Yeah.
thought that was all going east. We were lucky. Using
Yeah.
binoculars about 15 minutes after sunset, it'll be only 2 degrees above the horizon.
Good luck.
All right, shall we go to Tuesday?
2
The
degrees.
10th?
That's 2 degrees is the width of your thumb. Is that what I remember?
Yeah,
Kelvin,
it's something. Eric, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
2 degrees is 4 times the width of two full moons, right?
Yes.
Or 1 full moon, 4
Yes.
times.
Well, the full moon is about a half of a degree, so it'd be 4 of those.
Okay,
I thought that's what he said. 4.
Oh, did he say 4?
Yeah, I thought so. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Get the earwax out.
wonder where our friend Bruce Murdoch is. He's probably out of town or doing something else or forgot us.
He's been trying to log in, but he's having trouble. So
Oh, did he call you? Is that what that phone call was about?
yeah, it was.
Well, we'll
He
get
needs
him
to
and
use
we'll
an
get
actual
a.
computer.
Okay, yeah. Well, did you post those pictures he took from Cielo up near Reagan's Ranch, way out on West Camino Cielo, Totten?
I
Are
don't
those
think
post-
so. No.
No,
Yeah,
they were
so-
probably too big.
They were
They might have-
enormous. Yeah, I actually thought about maybe planting them in the next newsletter, but they were enormous.
Well, he got a good shot of the Milky Way. That's pretty much. Let's go to the comet on Tuesday, shall we, gentlemen?
4P Faye.
We have a picture of this, Totten. Look for Comet 4P/Faye. I'm sure there's an astronomer that shares half of that name, somebody named Faye. I don't know who the guy 4P was, but less than 6 degrees south of the Pleiades, which is
okay.
M45 in Taurus the Bull. Use at least a 6-inch scope in a dark spot, which is nothing for us. Pick up a faint fuzz at 11th or even 10th magnitude. Comet
Yeah, it's
Faye.
pretty faint.
Well, there it is.
Yeah,
That 4P, Ron, means it's the 4th comet for which they figured out it had a periodic orbit.
Okay.
And there's only one guy involved, somebody named Faye, unless it's a woman, right? Faye. It's just a few miles wide. I didn't know they were that big. Are they heavens several miles across, like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs? Well, that was an asteroid, wasn't it? Or it might have been a comet, right?
Well, that was probably nickel iron.
Oh, all right. Well, this was discovered in 1843. Returns every 7.5 years, 7.6 years. But the next time we're going to see it after this year is 2036. We're going to miss the next sighting. You do your math, it's going to come again between now and then, I think.
Yeah, but we might have the sun in the way.
right.
Oh, is that what it is? Directly below the Pleiades, closer to the horizon, it's bright red Aldebaran, along with the comet. Can you guys see the comet from our skies here in Santa Barbara? I don't think.
If it's dark enough and clear enough, sure. If you have a scope, it requires about a 6-inch neighborhood.
Well,
Or
there's
camera.
usually a comet every week here. We've had Atlas and a couple others. And so is there just always several comets in the sky and the brightest ones get all the attention?
There's a website that Chuck will be able to tell us about that, but it has all the comets currently in the sky available. And there are literally dozens of them. Even Halley's Comet is listed there, but it's out at the maximum extent of its orbit, so it's very, very hard to see, except with the very largest telescopes on Earth.
There's
Each
10P, Tempel. Is that what that's called? 10
Temple.
Temple?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there was another one, but that's okay. Aldebaran is one of the pivotal stars we zero in on. That's up there too, right?
Yeah,
Bright
it's a
red.
nice
red
red
giant.
star.
It's the eye of the bull, aging star. It sits nestled among the scattered Hyades, which is like the Pleiades, an open star cluster.
Yeah.
Hyades are closer and older than the Pleiades, thus spreading out its stars more. Let's go to Wednesday.
Tom just had on the board the list of comets
There we go.
in the sky. Well, this
Our
is
pic-
on the chart again.
What's the one in the upper right? My picture obliterates half of it. Menka something.
Oh,
That's a star.
Menkala.
Oh, that's a star.
Yeah, I put star names in here just because I'm trying to accidentally commit them to memory. Sort of like learning by osmosis.
Okay.
One of
What
them
I don't
got a
understand
really
about
cool-
comets.
Oh,
What?
wait, let me just comment on one. I've never heard of Kafal Jadma before. I can't even pronounce it.
Oh, that's probably an Arabic gentleman.
It is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
An Arabic phrase, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Resha, the one up above there, means the knot. That's where the two fish
Right.
are tied together for the Pisces.
Yes, that's right.
Those are stars
what-
or comets?
Stars.
Those are stars. And you've never heard of that before? Thought you guys knew all your stars. Look
Not
at
by a long shot.
that. Okay.
Jerry, which constellation is this?
Cetus.
It's got the,
Cetus, the sea monster.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
You made it real small and I can't see the stars on my screen, but
Bat
that's
and
okay.
Kaitos there. Kaitos is Cetus.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Deneb Kaitos is basically the tail of the beast. I think it translates the tail of the beast.
Huh. Well, now,
You can see it real easily. I saw it the other night, like midnight, in the southeastern sky, Deneb Kaitos. I was hoping for an appearance of Myra, but I guess Myra's still on the downswing. So that variable star, goes away for a long time and then comes back to visible with a naked eye every so often. But I guess in the cycle right now, you can't quite see it with your eyes.
And it might be where all those lines are joining in the diagram.
Okay.
In Cetus, there's a little red dot there.
I thought Myra's lower.
Okay.
Could be, yeah.
11th and 10th magnitude means pretty dim for a comet, right? You can
Yeah.
barely see it.
Yeah.
Right. That's telescope time.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Hyades and Pleiades, star cluster. No, what are they? They're clusters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Open cluster.
okay. Well, shall we go to Wednesday?
Yep.
Okay.
Give Tom time to call up anything. Mercury, we mentioned earlier, passing 1.2 degrees north of Regulus, another great star in Leo the Lion at 11 a.m. That does us no good. 20 minutes after sunset, though, on Wednesday night, very low on the horizon, about 2 degrees high. And binoculars are what you should use, catch a glimpse before they disappear. Is that the new sky, Tom Totten?
Yes,
Are we looking at
this is
Wednesday?
fun. I didn't add the star names because it's basically the same stars as the previous slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there's Venus at the bottom.
Mhm.
Easier to view. Oh, let's see, will be Venus, of course, as always, and the moon. Still, I guess, gathering larger crescents. Gonna lie a bit higher in the west, both in Virgo with Venus at magnitude -4, 11 degrees high, half hour after sunset.
Mhm.
8 degrees west of the moon, in which we'll pass 4 degrees north of Venus early in the morning. Thin waxing crescent moon may now will show some earth shine. You want to explain that phenomenon? Sunlight, what, reflecting off our shadow somehow? We talked about this
No.
before.
It's
No, no.
reflecting off our clouds.
Yeah,
Oh, it's our clouds.
yeah, then bouncing back to the moon.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Earth
If
shine.
if you look at the Earth from space, you also get a glint of sunlight off of our oceans. So it's not quite specular, but it favors that directional stuff, and that also adds to the Earth shine.
Wow.
Yeah.
President Jerry, if you want us to see your full face, can you adjust your screen where we can get your about? There you are. All this handsomeness.
See, if I tilt my screen forward, I'm using a different computer today. If I tilt it forward, then I can't see the picture.
Oh,
but
I see. Well, that's all right. We don't need to see.
That's okay. No, that's it. I just,
We know you won the annual Robert E. Lee lookalike contest again. Congratulations.
I thought it was Colonel Sanders.
Or Colonel Sanders. You guys have chicken that a lot at your house. You and
Actually,
Pat.
we do, but it's not fried.
All right, gentlemen, shall we talk meteors? There's showers galore, Perseids peaking on Thursday, the 12th. Watch either before sunrise or late at night before moonset.
Yeah, the peak for us, unfortunately, is at noon.
I
Oh,
see.
no kidding. Really? They peak
Yeah.
over, it's been weeks, hasn't it?
Well, it's active for a couple of days on either side of the peak, so you'll still
Yeah.
see some, but
It's not a sharp peak.
yeah.
Yeah. But even last Wednesday, late at night, probably midnight, I did see an errant. I'm sure it came from the Perseids, you know.
Oh.
a
And
streak
some
through
people
the-
we were at the Miramar with telescopes, and some people saw some.
Yeah.
Well, the radiant it comes from will be 90 degrees in the sky. Isn't that straight up?
Yeah.
Am
I was
off?
just follow up something with Chuck. I didn't know that he was going to mention the Miramar, but when I came home about 10:30, sorry, I ducked out, Chuck, a little early.
It's all right.
Anyway, I came home and the sky here was just absolutely spectacular. So I took out and I usually just use these 8x42. They're bird binoculars, but they're really well made. I took those things and Andromeda Galaxy was naked eye, real easy to see. Our darkest part of our sky is in the northeast, okay? And so I thought, oh, just for the heck of it, I'll take these binoculars and just aim it towards M33, the pinwheel. There it was. I saw it. So it was a spectacular night, Chuck. It was just really neat. And it was also cool where we were at Miramar.
Yeah. Well, according to Astronomy Magazine, that's where we get the night sky postings, Mr. President.
Yes.
We might be able to see some smoke in the tails. You'll see 15% more out of the radiant if you look around dawn, an hour before dawn.
Yeah.
40 degrees to 60 degrees away from the radiant, it increases the number of meteors you see each hour. Tails on some of them.
Mhm.
Wait till the moon sets about 10:30 p.m. At that time, radiant will be nearly 20 degrees high and climbing. Many of the meteors, most of them, all of them will hopefully burn up between 50 and 70 miles up
Yeah.
in altitude, and few of them will reach the ground and become meteorites. I guess the vast majority of meteorites that hit the Earth, the meteorites, which they become, never get found, do they? They hit the ocean,
Yes.
probably.
If something
It
comes
is.
down and people now with all their cell phones and car cameras, they can get several views of them and they can triangulate where it hit. And from pictures that are published, and then they rush to that spot because the retrieving the meteorites, they're quite valuable. They sell for $1,000 or more, little pieces of them. There's another interesting thing is right at the radiant there, you see a little circle, but it is possible, although improbable, that a meteor may come directly at us from the radiant. And in which case you wouldn't see a streak, you just see it brighten and then disappear. So it's like a growing bright star and then it snaps out and goes away. I've never seen a confirmed claim of that. People have commented on that might be an explanation for things they see in the sky. But it is possible, but it's improbable.
Now, our illustrious outreach coordinator has an incredible collection, I guess, of meteorites. But have they ever been displayed at the museum, or does it have its own? I don't think
The museum has its own set.
Oh, it does.
In fact, some got stolen when somebody broke into the space lab a couple of years ago.
Oh, boy.
Is that the annex next to the planet,
The little
Glad-
anteroom to the planetarium, yeah.
oh, it's in there. I guess I hadn't looked there. I didn't see them.
Well, now they really lock them down, and there's a huge piece of Campo del Cielo there that weighs about 500 pounds.
Wow.
We had an interesting discussion one night, or presentation at our club years ago from Chuck, and he brought all his meteorites, all of which are small, except or smaller than the one you show. That's what, 5 pounds, the one in the hand?
Yeah.
Long, older than dirt.
Right. Walk like a duck.
By the way, I think that spiel is written somewhere in the museum, isn't it?
It's part of it is on the Campo del Cielo display, yeah.
Okay, that's
All
it.
right. All right.
Well, we're busy writing you a new one for post-pandemic, Chuck, so we'll have you memorize it later. There it is. Great. That's one of the best displays on the screen I've ever seen. I can read everything just perfect there. Wish our sky looked like that. Shall we go to Friday and wrap it up and then talk about Cat's Eye Nebula and rogue planets?
Okay.
Venus.
Hang around.
Venus and Beta Virginis or Virginis?
Virginis.
Virginis. I hadn't thought of that.
Now, this is an old slide. The dates on here do not apply to now, but it shows the phases of Venus as it goes from superior conjunction. Wait, no, the other way around. It goes from where it's between us and the sun at the lower right, and then it goes around where it's heading toward full on the other side of the sun. But there's a real nice animation that I put the website to on this talking point. If Tom can go there, you can move Venus around in its orbit, and it shows you the phase and size of it as it goes around the orbit, which is very illustrative.
Well, according to your note, Venus is 78% lit, which means it's got to be on the other side.
Very close to full.
But it wouldn't be as big a disk as opposed to it's on this side, even
Now
though we
this
only
Okay, Tom, if you take your cursor and put it on Venus and then move it around its orbit.
Oh, it's neat.
See, that's about where it is now. It's about right, just not on the other side, but close there,
Right
right
there,
about
yeah.
there. That's where it is now.
That's gibbous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bruce, I hear you.
Hello,
Yes.
Bruce. Welcome aboard. I don't see you yet.
Oh, really? I said join with video.
You're there, Bruce. You're there.
Okay.
You can move the Earth too.
Now, wait a minute. Tom's doing that with his cursor?
Yeah, yeah,
He's got the application. You're just seeing the video output from it.
right.
It doesn't show you the relative brightness, does it?
Well, no, you have to integrate with your eye over the disk percentages and then account for the distance, but you can get it real easy.
Huh. Well, it's bright. Sits 8 degrees from magnitude 3.6 Beta Virginis. Yeah, that's not shown. Blazing at magnitude -4.
Mhm.
Beta, what did you call it, Whittemore? Virginis?
Well, I studied Latin. I say Virginis. Virginis.
Virgin. Is that name for
Of the
the?
Virgin, it's genitive case of the Virgin.
Really? That's a biblical term in our night
No.
sky.
No.
Just Latin. It's just Latin. Okay.
Oh, it's just Latin. Well,
Constellation Virgo, Ron.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not named for the Virgin Mary.
No.
Oh, no.
Well, that would be an example of one particular Virginus.
Right.
Hello, Bruce, with your headphones. You have
Yes,
trouble
I can.
joining us? You have trouble?
I had great trouble getting logged on. I just called Tom again, and I guess the internet heard me call him, and it finally logged on to the Zoom. It just kept saying connecting. For 10 minutes, it was connecting.
How about Tim Crawford? Is he on board today? Do we know if he's listening?
Let me see. We actually do have a comment here. Let me see what it says from Doug Dimsdale. Let's see. Hold on. Let me show you what it says. I can actually show you the chat.
You can post the comments. Good deal.
Let's
we'll read
see,
it.
share. And so, can you see the comments there? It says,
Tiny.
Okay, somebody read it. It's so small for
It
me.
says hot take science is all about questioning things and what has been told. If they tell you do not question what has been told, that is not a scientist you listen to.
Well, that's true. Okay.
Sure that's not spam interrupting
Could
us?
be, but it's appropriate. It's applicable spam.
Okay, let's wrap up Friday the 13th coming up. Oh God, we have a Friday the 13th. Binoculars to see the dim star Beta Virginis in the darkening sky, just 5 degrees high. And I guess both Venus and the star will set around 9:30. Venus is 78% lit, as we said, with its disk 14 arc seconds wide. Best to observe by twilight or at twilight. Really? Planet will continue to move east through Virgo as August progresses, passing near Porrima, Gamma Virginis. Porrima is another name for the same star?
Yep.
Okay.
Perimus is a pretty close double. It's a test for your telescope in the sky. If you can split Porrima, it's a good night and you have a good telescope.
Wow. You want to point out things on there, somebody? What am I looking at here? Where
This
is
is the
it?
cat's eye.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's in the red bullseye, is where the Cat's Eye Nebula is.
Oh,
Okay.
shall we? Okay, you want to go there, Cat's Eye Nebula? Is it every night we can watch this, or is this only Friday?
No,
Nope,
it's
Gentlemen?
Go ahead.
it's the next several. I mean, it's weeks that you can see it.
It's very faint.
Yeah, technically it's up half the year.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
And it's the second, what is called planetary nebula. In 2 weeks we talked about. Remember, I asked you last week, what was the planetary nebula we talked about then? Remember?
I thought we
Yeah.
just talked about just planetary nebula.
Yeah. In
Oh, there
general.
was I think there was a name on it. Well, anyway, perhaps it's has nothing to do with planets, does it?
No,
That's correct.
But it looks like a cat's eye. Oh, gone.
In some pictures.
Well, if you squint at it, it does.
It's also cataloged as NGC 6543,
Mm.
created when a sun-like star sloughs off its outer layers as it ages. Even stars age like the rest of us.
now planetary nebula is the end stage of our sun.
Mhm.
Oh, no kidding. We'll get swallowed up and it'll swell up and become red.
It'll
Then
slough
blow
off
up?
its outer layers. Yeah.
Really? Our sun's going to be a supernova?
No,
No.
We're not
it's a
looking at
planetary nebula with a white dwarf star left over.
but isn't there an explosion there?
No.
No, more like a burp.
Yeah.
A burp. Well, let's
The Cat's Eye Nebula
Yeah.
is very close to Polaris, the North Star. So you may be able to see it all year round from the northern.
Yeah, I
hemisphere.
was going to say it's near circumpolar.
Yeah.
okay.
See, Polaris is at the bottom of the picture here.
Oh, in the north.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this nebula, do they know when it or sloughed it off or whatever? It's not something we can visualize when it happens. It doesn't brighten suddenly and
Yeah,
go crazy.
yeah, it does. I mean, there's one we saw, the Stingray Nebula, I think we had in one of our talks a while back, where it sort of is fading away now.
You
Can we
know,
see it?
It doesn't say the distance to it here, but the what is it, the M1, the Crab Nebula, you can photograph that and then 50 years later photograph it again and you can see the shape change.
Mhm.
And you can go reel it backwards and tell roughly when it went off, when it sloughed off its outer layers.
Well, that was a supernova, so that's moving a lot faster, so that's easier to do.
Yeah, it is. But also with M1, you can also, there's a historical record because it was a supernova. It was so bright. So you can correlate it with 1054, which I think was in a Chinese observation.
Yes. Yes.
These
Right.
Planetary nebulas from this thing, they're much fainter. But in principle, you can still do the same thing. Take two pictures over a long period of time and then estimate backwards to roughly when it was.
And you can take spectra of the moving gases and tell how fast they're going that way.
Yes.
Yeah. Are the concentric rings a artifact of the photo processing of the image?
No, they seem to be real, and they seem to be from pulsations that it did.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Now these things, some of them have weird shapes like this one because of the angle you're looking at it from. And so you have to redo a three-dimensional reconstruction to really see what it looks like. Some of them have some of them have jets going out each side. And if you look down the jet, it just looks like a spherical expansion. So the two-dimensional thing can give you a pretty picture, but it's not necessarily a representation of the three-dimensional sloughing off.
But
and
how
you
do
can
you?
see jets in this one.
Yeah.
I believe it was Crab Nebula we talked about last week, but that's not a planetary nebula,
No.
right?
Well, it sort of is, because it's the same size as a planetary nebula, but we know the origin of that is different. But these were named planetary nebulas because of how they looked to visual astronomers back in the 1800s and 1700s. So the Crab looked like that, and it may have been listed as a planetary nebula, but technically it's different.
Huh. So it sloughs it off, or as you say, burps, and becomes what looks like the follow-up of a supernova or hypernova or kilonova.
Except there's a white dwarf star at the center.
Right.
Is that what we're looking? Can we see it? Is that what we're looking at?
A little dot.
Yeah, it's right there.
I thought they were only like 10 miles across. How could you see something that small?
Well, you can't resolve it, but you see its brightness, not its size.
They're more like Earth size, Ron. You're thinking of a neutron star.
Oh, okay. You're probably right. All right. So that stuff's still got to keep expanding.
Speaking of cat's eyes, there we go.
There's the Cat's Eye Nebula right there. Little Dipper.
You have to twist her head, though, to make it agree.
I love cats. I wish I could have one. They all have been.
One of these is, I think it was last week, a pair of eyes formed over Chuck's shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. Got to get some pictures, some movies, and send them to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Let me throw this at you real quick. This is the weekly forwarded cartoon from Mr. President. The Flat Earth Society, this is breaking news.
Oh, I love that one.
Just launched their first rocket off the side of the Earth, ladies and gentlemen, into the dark abyss of space on the side. Flat Earthers' control can be heard counting down. 3, 2, 1, slip off. We hear slip off. We have slip off from the far edge of the Earth, down in where Columbus's boat is still sailing down. You want to talk about rogue planets?
Sure.
This is fascinating stuff. They're out there, and I heard somewhere not too long ago that there's probably as many rogue planets wandering around loose as there are stars. That makes for billions. And they're not all planets. They are planets, but they don't orbit stars. Here we go. There's the flat Earth joke off the side. Those people can't be serious.
The rogue planets may have started around a star. As a matter of fact, that's probably where they formed. But another star passed close by and whipped it out of there, or it got a gravitational boost from a big planet in that solar system and got flung out. So, there was a lot of turmoil in our solar system. By the way, this is not a photo. This is an artist drawing. There's a lot of turmoil in our solar system in the beginning, with multiple planets, one that crashed into Earth, and big planets that are in different positions. So when planetary systems form, they don't all have nice, stable orbits to them.
The simulation that I did, that I presented, that the three of us presented to the society December, 2 years ago. One of the things that I would do with that is I would just randomly pick stars, randomly pick masses, velocities, etc. Just a random blob of maybe 1,000 bodies, and let it run. And you saw all kinds of things. You see that, they start to go around the Earth, or the central body, and then they get tied up, and then two of them will go zipping off into space. And, it was interesting. I really enjoyed that. So, that's what our early universe did too.
Yeah.
Well, now they've been looking for exoplanets since the 90s, and how long have they now known that we do have rogues? In fact, they had indication of one. This guy down at Caltech, where our former vice president Adrian has gotten a scholarship. Guy's name he's Eastern European, I guess. Presmik Mroz, M-R-O-Z, unless that's Arabic. Back in
Polish.
Polish. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Probably Mraz, right?
Apparently, here's how they found it. it didn't occult a star. It gravitationally lensed the light as it went across the star. It took about what, 5 minutes or 5 hours? 5 hours, didn't it?
So they've known these exist now since June 2016, but they speculated long before.
Okay, it's subject to probably vast numbers of science fiction stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lonely, cold place. Chances are life is not on those things. But boy, they probably have good viewing if there were. It could be a great starlight nighttime because it's nothing but night on those suckers.
Yep.
Rogue planets.
But
Well, anyway,
the night skies are spectacular.
Yeah.
on a rogue planet.
Yeah.
Well, someday maybe Bezos or Branson will let us go out and land on one, take our telescopes. Don't have to orbit the sun. Now, do we have a new definition of planet because of this, Mr. President or Mr. Outreach or the rest
Not
of you?
officially yet, but I'm sure they'll come up with a better one. The current one is pretty Earth-centric.
Yeah. And the thing has to be in orbit around a star. So if this is a confirmed observation, then which I think is probable, then they need to redefine planet. And if they do that, because the idea is now they're just going to say anything can pull itself into a round shape is a planet. So that would mean that
Like Pluto
and Ceres is a planet. And there's probably a couple more out there too.
And the trouble with these Ogle discoveries is you're probably not going to get another observation of the same object.
True.
Ogle stands for Optical Gravitational
Lensing experiment.
Lensing. Well, that lensing thing, it really turns me on. Interesting stuff. Apparently that they saw it in the Atacama Desert Observatory.
Atacama Desert.
Yeah.
Atacama? Okay, I missed.
There's no L in it.
Oh, there's no, you're right, ATE, Atacama, got it, all right.
ATA.
And it took 4 years to verify. This lady, was it a lady that saw it first? Another professor at Caltech, where our boy Adrian is, happened to see the star brighten. It didn't dim, but it brightened, and they figured gravitational lensing of this rogue planet going in front of it for 5 hours condensed the light and made it bright. And I don't know how you guys can explain it better than I can. Took 4 years to figure it out. November 1st, 2020. That was only last fall. The only one we have confirmed. And they think there are billions rolling around. I bet you there's some that rotate each other's like binary stars. Maybe they have their own little solar systems without a solar.
Yeah, without a star. They might. It's entirely possible.
That's Ogle.
And they argue about who's a moon and who isn't.
What is the IAU, International Astronomical Unit? I believe, not unit,
Union.
It's
I understand.
It's the authority that is allowed to officially name things.
What was that? Where are they based? Caltech?
Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over in Europe. Okay, well, there's some history. You guys know your history pretty well, and I'm learning. The French astronomer Urbain le Verrier first predicted another planet out beyond Uranus back in the early 1800s, because we only had 7 of the. Later we had 9 planets, and we're back to 8. But
we had 18 at one point, Ron.
Had how many?
18.
18 planets?
Yeah, because they were counting the first asteroids as planets.
Any dot in the sky that moved became a planet.
Yeah.
That moved separate to the way the stars move, obviously.
Yeah. Stars don't move.
Well, they can take a number of observations, a minimum of 3, and determine its orbit. They'll say, okay, it's in orbit about the sun.
Yeah.
Must be a planet.
Well, have you guys ever heard of this Urbain le Verrier?
Le
Verrier, yes.
Neptune.
He was the one that used the perturbation method, which was preceding, the differential equation method that we used to calculate what would be necessary to make the planet of Uranus to not quite be where it was supposed to be, and he mathematically calculated where the
next planet, Neptune.
Next planet would be.
Yeah.
And the other time, other guy, Gale was his last name. I forget his first name now.
Johann
Gottfried.
Johann, right? He pointed his telescope there and found it.
Yeah,
It
within
was within a degree
of-
of where Urbain le Verrier, whatever his name is,
Verrier.
found it, or
was-
predicted it would be, I should say.
There was kind of a race. There was John Couch Adams in England that
Right.
was doing the
Right.
calculations at the same time. They both finished at roughly the same time and gave their calculations to various astronomers. And Couch Adams gave his to the Astronomer Royal in England, who said, well, I'm busy at the moment. And Le Verrier gave his to Gallet in Berlin, because he knew he was doing a telescopic survey of that region of the sky where he thought to look. And sure enough, that same night, they pretty much found it because they had observed it a couple of nights before and had charted the positions, and they could see that one of what they thought was a star had moved. And it turns out that Couch Adams' calculations were only by accident pointing to nearly the same part of the sky. It turns out his calculations had a lot more errors in them. So now they pretty much leave him out and just talk about Le Verrier as being the one who calculated where Neptune is.
So
All these
even-
calculations were done by hand too. That's the
Yeah.
amazing part.
It
And
took
they have to
months.
do a lot of them.
Yeah.
So Le Verrier was the mathematician as well as astronomer who plotted where it should be, and this Gallet found it, actually saw it. You can't say it exists if you can't see it. You've got to see a spot on the screen.
Well, people can derive all sorts of things from mathematics and theory, but when you go to test the testable parts of that, it's either there or it isn't.
Yeah.
And so you have to have that experimental backup in order to give credibility, because you can derive all sorts of things mathematically, but you have no mathematical.
Yeah, you can prove 1 = 0.
Totten, what were you going to say?
A phony proof, but yeah.
Tom Totten?
I know.
They did not have photographs at this point, right? So these are just sketches that they made and sent to each other?
No, they did do sketches, but they measured positions. They had eyepieces with crosshairs in them. And so they'd measure position and then they'd calibrate their eyepiece. So they knew how far apart it was. It actually generate a position for the thing. And then later they'd generate another one.
Like a little micrometer eyepiece.
Yeah, I was going to say that. They could move it back and forth with a lead screw.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you suppose we can't do this again, looking for the mysterious planet 9?
That's
Well,
exactly what we're doing.
Right.
Oh.
We're looking for the dot. We can't see the dot yet. So anyway,
You know, in our presentation a couple of years ago, we hypothesized where planet 9 might be, but I forgot what its orbital period was, but it's huge.
yeah.
Because it goes way, way out. So, you know, in our lifetime, you're not going to get enough observation to really try to determine what its orbit might be.
Well, Pluto is technically outside our inner circle of planets. It's in the Kuiper Belt, is it not? It's a dwarf planet. Is that where planet 9 they think is in the
Yes.
Kuiper Belt?
Yes.
Way out there, they think. Well,
Way out.
the farther out it is, if we find it, the bigger it has to be.
But
It's also a highly elliptical orbit.
would it be affecting the orbits of Uranus and Neptune?
Could.
No.
Well,
Is it?
anything, it could, but probably not to a significant degree.
Yeah.
Wow.
The way they're looking for it, Ron, is they see these patterns in the orbits of some other trans-Neptunian objects. And they look like they're unstable orbits, and they're all aligned the same way. So it looks like something perturbed them at roughly the same time.
Right.
And so that's what gives them the hints of where to look for this object.
But they don't think planet 9 is another dwarf. It's got enough power and size and mass to be one of the biggies, or maybe even a gasser.
It has to have a fairly significant amount of mass, but
Right.
they don't know the exact value.
It could be a collection of smaller objects too. That hasn't been eliminated.
What are we looking at here, gentlemen?
Oh, well, the next step
That's
is,
the precession of Mercury.
right. The next step
Oh.
is that Le Verrier also looked at, he looked at the distortions in the orbit of Uranus to find Neptune, but there was another known distortion in the planet Mercury. And so he tried to calculate where the missing planet was to perturb Mercury, not knowing, of course, that it was an effect of general relativity because they only had Newtonian gravitation at that time. So he calculated the position of another planet, which he called Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Yeah.
Look at
Live
that.
long and prosper.
Yeah. So for a while, everybody was trying to find, because he pointed everyone at Neptune, And that was successful. Now everybody wanted to find his Vulcan because they believed his math. So, but of course it was not to be. There was no Vulcan.
How much smaller or bigger is Mercury than our moon? Isn't it about the same size?
It's about 1.5 times the radius of the moon.
So it's bigger than the moon.
As
Yeah.
proof that Vulcan doesn't exist, I put on a picture of the sun here that shows Vulcan not transiting it.
Yeah.
But in Star Trek, it did exist, didn't it?
Well, but it was around another star.
Oh, it was around another star, that Vulcan. So they used the name in the TV series. Look at that. What is that type of an orbit called? Looks like a giant daisy or a
Precession.
It's a precession.
Yeah, the cardinal point of the orbit, the farthest out, is every time Mercury comes to the farthest out position, it's not following the same curve. It follows a new path. So this is like a spirograph.
Yeah, and it's what's the word for it's stretched. It's not true to. It's really not that extensive, is it? It doesn't.
No, it's not as big an effect as you see here.
Yeah, because that looks like the orbits of the Juno spacecraft around Jupiter.
Jupiter, yeah, that's probably good.
Wow, but it's like that, and so it's never in the same place on its outward. What's it called? The furthest from the sun? What, apogee?
Mm-hmm.
That's Earth. It's.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Well,
this would be aposole.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's never at the same place.
Aphelion.
Yeah.
Aphelion. Okay, this is supposed to be Mercury. So if you just sort of squash that a little, it's like a long egg. That's fascinating stuff there, Tom Totten. Thank you. You did good.
Jerry's found this photo.
But they never saw anything that became Vulcan. Were they looking at telescopes?
Yeah.
Okay, but
the thing they were looking for was that Vulcan was predicted to transit the sun. And so at the predicted times that they'd look at the sun and they didn't see any transit, just like this solar picture. So that was all they got. They never found, obviously, Vulcan until Star Trek came out.
all right, dumb question, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway. It's something you guys know. I just don't happen to know. Do all the inner planets, or both of them, Venus and Mercury, go across the sun every time? Is there always a transit?
No.
Oh,
Their orbits are tilted.
What?
Their orbits are tilted by more than 30 arc seconds, and so, or 30 arc minutes. And so sometimes they pass above and sometimes they pass below. In fact, most of the time they pass above or below.
It's just why we don't get a solar eclipse every month.
Yeah, right, sure. But this Vulcan, were they looking for it to go across the sun? In which case, I guess they had incredible filters back then to keep from being blinded by looking right at
So
the.
fast.
What they did when they looked at the sun was they projected an image onto a gray card, and then
Right.
they look at the sun that way. That's
There you
how the solar telescopes on Mount Wilson image
Right.
the sun.
We all did that.
Yeah.
And then conversely, where Venus is now on the other side, is it going to disappear behind the sun, or might it be above it, even though we probably couldn't see it because of the sunlight?
Right. Exactly.
Does it ever get below it from our
Yeah.
vantage? Either. So they really are tilted like crazy.
Well,
Fascinating.
the sun's not really that big.
Yeah.
What?
At that distance.
Okay.
800,000 miles across, but close to 100 million miles away.
Wow. Fascinating. Just amazing stuff, gentlemen. What do we got planned this week? Anybody going to go out and occult or look up and take pictures again? Bruce, you heading up?
Well, we were out last Friday, and
Yep.
Jupiter was just stunning. I mean, you could see everything. You could see multiple little bands. Unfortunately, the sky didn't clear up so we could see that until about midnight, and we had to break down because I had to be at someplace at 8 o'clock the next morning. So unfortunately, we're going to be out next Thursday, and hopefully we'll see something.
Okay. And
You
Chuck,
know,
you're going
we're
to be
at 2,750 feet when we go up to West Camino Cielo. So you get above, you're looking down on the marine layer and whatnot, which is good.
yeah.
And the worse the marine layer is, the better our seeing is, because it kills the
Right.
interfering light.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Nice image, Bruce.
that's not mine, but ours was that good. It was that good.
Oh, wow.
The turbulence was nil. It was
Wow.
just stunning.
Mhm.
That could be a Hubble photograph, couldn't it?
Could
We're
be.
looking-
That could
This
also
was-
be highly processed. It says lucky
this-
imagings.
I don't see a big red spot. Must be on the other side.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Did they get the Hubble fixed?
Wait a minute. I think Bruce is trying to say something, but his voice keeps falling out.
It should
I
be.
was
It's
trying to-
right
I was
next
trying
to
to
my
say it.
mouth. I wasn't.
And this was an amateur with a 16-inch telescope, a 16-inch Dob, it says,
Yeah.
and he just took a video of Jupiter, and then he stacked all the images and came out with this image.
Really? I would
Well,
think
it says down there, lucky imaging under acquisition type. And that means that you scan through all of the images and you pick the best one. I don't think stacking, I mean, maybe it's involved, but I would say.
Oh, it is. Bob Richard does that. You take video and then you run it into like Registacks,
Yeah, I know, but
and
this is
you might have 1,000 pictures and you ended up with 20.
right.
That's where the lucky imaging comes in.
Okay.
It's picking
Yeah.
those 20.
Yeah, so he had 3,600 frames.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
1,600, I thought. Oh, 36. Yeah. My screen's smaller than it used to be.
well, if there's
The
900
images that I took of Saturn 2 weeks ago, the video, I mean, I sent the one that was just terrible. It was just all fuzzy. But the images that are the video I took, I watch it, and every so often it'd be clear, and then it'd be mud, and then it'd be clear again.
Yep.
But unfortunately, my camera writes a .mov file, and Registacks wants an MPEG file,
Okay.
and I don't have the software to convert it. I need to go find that.
What's the process, Tom Totten, for getting a photo that you've taken onto our website or the big picture archives? Are we part of that?
Well, if people send me a photo, I would probably try to put it on Flickr or,
Flickr, yeah.
but we're into video so much now, we put it on YouTube. All our stuff is getting on YouTube, looks like.
Including this program, which is rapidly coming to a close.
So yeah, if someone sends a picture to webmaster at SBAU, I could show it during one of our programs. That'd probably be a good way to go. And of course, our telescope workshops, we see a lot of images from folks. So if people write to webmaster here at SBAU and want to join our telescope workshop and show off what they're doing or ask questions, we
Sure.
encourage that on Tuesday nights.
You also have vectors from our SBAU website, individual websites where people display their own images.
Oh, no
Right.
kidding, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
use it. Yeah, it's one of the tabs.
Yeah.
And,
Links.
and speaking of Bruce Murdoch, if you like theater organs, he's president of the Santa Barbara Grand Theater Organ Society. You guys are saving the one at the Arlington?
Right.
Getting that up
Well,
and
you
running?
still aren't doing anything because of COVID, especially now that the Delta variant has raised its ugly head.
Well, that was sure a
So-
dull fiesta we just had.
I got a voicemail from a guy that has a Wurlitzer electronic organ, which actually was an accordion in a box that they used, and he thinks it's worth a whole lot of money, and he wanted us to try to sell it for him. Well, I went on the internet and Googled it, and one sold at auction for $1. Nobody wants that stuff.
I saw one growing up. You pump the air using your pedals, your feet. I
Right,
think.
right.
Those
Well,
are awesome.
ESTEY made those organs. They were used in churches a lot.
Oh yeah, got to tell you.
They're basically a horizontal accordion.
Well, and we're talking big time Arlington stuff in the walls of the side, in that little Spanish village in there, you find the pipes. Gentlemen, we've almost run out of time. I thought maybe I'd run this quickly by the president before we go. Maybe in the future we could talk about Laniakea, the Hawaiian name for our big galaxy supercluster. Would that be
Okay.
worth talking about next week?
I can look up that and put it in there.
All right, then we will convene again next week. Take care of yourselves. Wear those masks if you need to. Go for that third shot if you can get it. And let's meet again on number 25 next Monday, right here online from our homes. Then we'll get ready to celebrate somehow. I've got a bottle of champagne I'll break open in 2 weeks when we hit our half-year mark, 26.
Okay.
So Chuck and Tom and Jerry, thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you
Thank you,
next
everybody.
Monday.
All right.
Thank you.
We're out
Bye
of
now.
here.